Okay everyone, this is just a quick video. I wasn't planning on doing a video for a while yet, but it's a lovely idea from Claire at Smurfy Girly. Go check her out. And it's just like a top list of fragrances for essential workers. So yeah, um, also for people who are sick of seeing my elbow, I thought I'd write a little message, which you can't see, kiss it, but yes, anyway, with no further ado, I'll get into the list. So these are fragrances for essential workers out there. Okay, first up, they're in no particular order because no essential worker is any more important than the other. So first up, I've gone for carers and home visitors and people like that who look after the elderly or the severely disabled. And for them, I've gone for this fragrance here. They're all quite cheap as well because obviously these people are underpaid and underappreciated. But this Eau de Missions, Le Cover de Minimes, as it is just basically the most beautiful, warm, rich vanilla bomb. It costs absolutely nothing because again I think the people who get paid the least on this list are care workers, and of course to us all they're great heroes, not just looking after the sick and elderly and dying as well in hospices. And unfortunately, their work is made even harder with this because they have to balance work home life, what they're bringing in and taking there. So, hats off to you people. I think you're quite wonderful. And this is a great fragrance because anybody smelling it on you, you'll feel cozy and warm and approachable, and it's not too strong that it'll be bothering anyone. So anyway, that's my first one on the list, and that's Eau de Missions, Le Cover de Minimes. Next on the list is for the sort of higher echelon of hospital workers, so doctors, consultants, surgeons, people like that. And obviously, it's very important for them to smell very approachable and also very professional, but not stink anyone out. Now, this saying that this is a clone, however, they're the highest earners on this list, and they could afford the real version of this. This is from Perfume Parlour, and it's called Spices and Woodies, which, if you can't figure it out, is Creed's Spice and Wood. Now, this was one of the first I got actually, and it is just a beautifully unique fragrance. It is exactly what it says on the tin. It's woods and it's spices, but it's so nice. But it is so fresh at the same time. There's no green or anything in this version anyway, but it's got this freshness. The spices are not too much. They're not too in your face, and I think a fragrance like this would make a patient or somebody they're dealing with feel reassured that they know what they're doing. Okay, so that's this one for doctors, surgeons, consultants, and the kind of management there. Spices and woodies. And the last of the people who work in the kind of frontline NHS and looking after people are, of course, all them nurses and porters and people like that. Now, I've picked this one, which is Alien. Okay, so next, the next essential worker who's important to all of us insane fried heads and people buying things online will go for delivery drivers and post people. Now, again, we don't spend a lot of time with them. Only see them for a few seconds, and sometimes they leave just stuff on your doorstep and run away, which is understandable. But they're very important essential workers as well. It isn't just daft stuff for us, it's food for people who can't go out shopping. And I think this Clinique Happy is perfect. It's not a strong fragrance again, but as they're running away from your doorstep, it'll leave a nice, sweet, fresh trail behind that will just make you want to smile. and smile back at them and say thank you and do appreciate what they do. And let's not get on at the drivers about how long it takes for things to get here, etc. Obviously, they'll be very busy, and they're not the people working in logistics, they're just doing what they're told. So, Clinique happy for delivery drivers, transport people, and post people. Next up, we have people that we hope we don't see a lot of, but given how badly behaved, let's say, the British public are at times, I think security and policemen, police people, men and women, of course. But obviously, when we go shopping now, there's a lot of security, because sadly there has to be, because again, we can't be trusted to behave. There's also security around places because everywhere's shut. And obviously, there's the police who sadly have to waste their time breaking up crowds and parties and gardens, etc. But so be it. They're very important. Obviously, we don't want to be seeing these sorts of people, but be that as it may, I've picked Dupe Homme Absolute. And the reason I've picked this is definitely not like Dupe Homme, which you may see, may not. This is a more sort of refined version. It's got a very warm pepper spice going through it, very, very strong at first, but it's very warm. And also the other main notes in it are ylang ylang and vanilla. So as well as having that kind of I'm a security person pepper kind of air of authority about it, it also has a sweet approachability to it, which again, the police have to be approachable, security guards have to be approachable, they're only doing their jobs. So yes, for our lovely security police people out there, Dupe Homme Absolute. And almost at an end now. This fragrance, can you guess who this is for? Probably not. And this is to no offence whatsoever to these people or the fragrance, but it's for people like refuse collectors and street sweepers and people like that, who obviously work around quite not pleasant smelling things. So something like Office, which I'm not offending the fragrance, is a very strong, very sweet, massive projector. So when we come into contact with our refuse people, which we might do sometimes, they smell quite pleasant and fresh and clean, which is exactly what this fragrance does. Now I'm not sure, especially in this country, refuse collectors would probably be able to afford this, but maybe they got a discount code and got it for quite a reasonable price. But yes, so for refuse collectors, people cleaning the streets, all them sorts of people, cleaners, of course they still have to go to work. Office for Men, a nice beautiful fresh fragrance. And of course there's teachers who are very important, and some of them are still having to go back to help look after the key workers' children and obviously educate them. Very important job. And I chose for that this Penhaligon's Luna, and that's because obviously teachers need to smell nice and clean and fresh and appealing and sweet even, but still professional. And this is just a lovely, it's just a lovely, gorgeous spring-like fragrance. Touch of the florals, a touch of citrus, and it's very watery and nice and instantly appealing. Obviously I was an adult teacher, different crowd, but I don't think they'll be at work at the moment. But for all these poor beggars who have to go in and look after our children whilst we're at work, they need to feel good and happy and have a smile on their face all day, and I think this is a great one for it. So that's Penhaligon's Luna, and that's for all the great teachers out there. And last but not least is the rest of the essential workers. There's far too many to name, but not all of them really come into contact with the public. So that's people like Claire Murphy Gurley, working for the water board, logistics people, people who work for the electric companies, people who are working in power plants, people working in supermarkets we don't come close to, people working in storerooms, warehouses, factories, countless other things. Even them idiots who work down in Parliament need to obviously smell nice and be approachable, and some of them are at work when they're not getting up to goodness knows what. But anyway, that's by the by. So for that, I picked Dew Palm. I picked Dew Palm specifically because, let's face it, it's strong, it's sweet, it will make everyone around you smile, it's nostalgic, it'll take them back in time. Claire, Smurfy Girlie and Dan, Mr. Smelly, both big fans of Dew Palm. Big fans. I'm sure you've heard them big it up loads. But no, I'm only joking. This really is one of them fragrances that, why not have your workplace stink of it? It's nice, it's pleasant. People won't be complaining about other things, they'll be complaining about the big pink cloud around them. Plus, again, there's no competition if everyone's wearing this, is there? But anyway, that's the final one on the list. And just before I go, obviously, this goes without saying, but not just from me, from everyone. Thank you, all you wonderful people who have to go out to work every day still work hard. And maybe I shouldn't have said politicians, because let's face it, I'm not sure what they really do, apart from make up stupid things and not enforce them and say one thing and then contradict it with another. But the civil servants, they're very important. They're the people who try to make sense of this nonsense that them people come out with. So to you civil servants, all you other essential workers, Dew Palm for you. And thank you for looking after us all and keeping the country going. Goodbye.